What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? What is going on? An apology is in order. An apology is in order because I completely forgot today was Friday. And the reason being is because it is my daughter's first birthday, and we were running around buying stuff and, getting supplies for a party that we're having tomorrow. And so laid down to take a nap with her, and the rest is history. So I apologize, everybody, for being 45 minutes late. I hope you will forgive me. But I'm here. And we're going to talk some crypto, and we're going to talk some Caspa, because, as you all know, we are very red yesterday and today. And we have absolutely plunged below the 50-week moving average, which I'm going to pull up here in just a second so that you guys can see it. Look at that. Look at that. That is absolutely crazy. So the 50-week is, sitting at 103-ish thousand. And we are way the hell down here at 95,000. So, First of all, before we actually get into all of this, how's everyone feeling today? And I want to remind everybody to pay your bar tabs before you leave the bar today, which includes hitting that like button and hitting that subscribe button if you are not subscribed already. And the benefit to that, right, it's free, obviously. And the benefit is that at 10,000 subscribers, I'm giving away 10,000 Caspa. Which, who the hell knows what the price of that's going to be when that time comes. Especially looking at today. So I don't really have much of an agenda today, except for to go over just a couple little market things. And looking at the 50-week is one of them right here behind me. Because obviously I forgot it was Friday and I didn't plan anything for today's stream. So we're just going to kind of hang out and talk, and I'm going to answer a bunch of questions and tell you what I'm doing right now. Because I'm sure some of you have that question as well. So Caspa Star, Poochie Loco, Chirp, Johnny Taco, Stuart, Chirp, Wyatt, Pero, everybody, welcome in to the live stream. I appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot. And again, I apologize for being 45 minutes late. Well, Caspa Star is buying this juicy dip. So let me know, you guys, what you're doing right now. Are you buying more? Are you waiting to see what happens? Are you packing it in, closing up shop, waiting for next cycle? So basically, this doesn't necessarily mean anything yet, right? We have 2 more days to get back above this Caspa teal colored line here, the 50-week moving average. And we all know Bitcoin can move extremely fast. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens on Sunday. Remember last week we were sitting below the 50-week majority of the week, and then on Sunday, Bitcoin just decided to pump right back above it again, almost like it was meant to be. And so maybe the same thing happens this week. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Basically, what I'm waiting for here is obviously for Sunday, I want to see where Bitcoin closes. But there has been precedent before, I think only once, where Bitcoin has, in a bull market, has closed beneath the 50-week and then still decided to go put in new all-time highs. And that was in, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse here. Right there in 2021. July of 2021. It closed below the 50-week and then continued to go put in new all-time highs. You guys remember what happened second half of 2021. So there is precedent for one weekly close, technically. It's only one data point, so, take that for what it is. Why do I keep doing that? Typically, the sign, right, that the bull market is over and the bear market is starting is 2 weekly closes below the 50-week moving average. And so even if this week closes below, I'm reluctantly hanging on still for some hope that sometime in maybe December, we get this last leg up, which I know it doesn't seem like it's possible, but I'm telling you right now, it is still possible. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but it's definitely still possible. So don't lose all hope yet. This could just be a shakeout. Remember, the U.S. government is reopening. I think it might have been today, or maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe it was yesterday. One of these recent days here. And a lot of times, news like that will actually crash the market, and then we'll just recover the following day. So that's also a possibility that this is just, a plunge after the good news of the government reopening. More liquidity will flow into the market now, and boom, we're off to the races. That's a possibility as well. So we'll see. But this right here does look a little scary, because remember last week we were like hanging down below, I think we hit 100,000, maybe 99, and then, wicked right back up and closed the week above it. And man, we went all the way down to, 94,000 this week. And so, we're going to see what happens basically. But for those of you who are wondering what I'm doing, I'm not doing anything at this point. I'm just waiting to see how this week closes. And then if we close below, then next week is going to be extremely important. Because if we close below the 50-week 2 weeks in a row, I would imagine that we're going into some sort of bear market. And the fact that we didn't have a blow off top means maybe the bear market is a little more digestible. We don't see as much low as we did in previous cycles, as well as maybe it doesn't go on quite as long either. I'm not really sure. Time will tell. That's just a guess. But, if we don't get a blow off top for Caspa this cycle, I'm holding on to all of it. I might sell some other stuff, but I'm not selling any of my Caspa until we decisively get like major pumps and a new all-time high. And then I might start selling some. Because there's a chance too. I mean, we all saw last cycle where Caspa outperformed everything in the bear market, right? My base case was that it was not going to do that again. Because there's been precedent of like, certain projects like, what was it? Chainlink in 2019 outperformed everything and then fell right back down with altcoins in the 2022 bear market. So my base case was that it was gonna, you know, it did it for one cycle. It's probably not going to do it again, but there's a chance that, you know, even if we do fall into a bear market, Caspa leads everything out of it again and outperforms in a bear market, which is one of the reasons why I'm not going to, like, if we don't get a blow off top, then there's no way I'm selling any of my Caspa. I'm going to hold on to Bitcoin and Caspa through the bear. Hopefully we don't have to worry about that, and we still get, you know, Bitcoin putting in new all-time highs and a short, violent spike up with altcoins December, January. But, you know, we're running out of time, so my thought process on that, right, even though I still think it's possible, like, who knows? We have to just adapt to what the market is giving us, right? We can predict and we can think things are going to happen, and if they don't, then you have to pivot. Right, we're basing things off of history, and if history changes and things don't play out the same way, then, you know, that's no one's fault. We just have to make sure that we're ready to pivot if need be, and have a plan set up, right? So if we do close 2 weeks below the 50-week moving average for Bitcoin, like, what are your guys' plan? If you hold, you know, 15 altcoins, are you going to sell them? Are you going to sell your Caspa? Are you going to sell everything? Okay, let's look at the whole market, because this is crazy, and I want to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. You know what would have been the best strategy this cycle as of right now? And nobody would ever been able to guess it. Is in 2022 and 2023, buy Bitcoin and buy Zcash and just hold on to it. Because Zcash is literally murdering everything right now. It's still up, and it's up another 28%, 28.5% over the last 24 hours. That thing's unstoppable. I would have told you guys that project was dead, but some of these, it's a privacy coin, and usually privacy coins do, you know, maybe not jump back as much as Zcash did, but it's a Dino coin, and you'll have periodic, you know, runs from those coins. This one's a lot larger and longer than I figured, but maybe something like that, right? You look at Zcash, maybe, and even Monero hasn't been running as fast or as violently, but it's still up, you know, 7% over the last 24 hours, 13% over the last 7 days. Another privacy coin. I wonder if they're just, you know, starting things off for us potentially. Who knows, right? Maybe the privacy coins are running first, and then we'll get everything else after. Or maybe, you know, we're falling into a bear market, and privacy coins are just, you know, the thing, and they're gonna run a little bit longer. Just find it hard to believe that, like, no altcoins. I mean, some of them you've had select altcoins run here and there, but it's nothing. Like, that's not what you consider an alt season. It hasn't even been close. But again, in 2017, altcoins didn't really run until like into November, early December. So maybe, and Donald Trump was president back then as well, which is the craziest thing. Maybe we're setting up for the exact same scenario, where December and first week of January are going to be blow off top. As much as it doesn't seem like it, it's still a possibility. So, you know, until that proves me wrong, I'm going to think that we're, you know, still a chance that happens. Even though it seems like it's getting less and less and less of a chance. Poochie says bear market. I don't know, man. Your guess is as good as mine right now. I would say we're still in a bull market until we start closing weekly candles under the 50-week moving average. Bitcoin, that is. Because that usually tells us the end of the cycle is here. So technically, it doesn't look good this week. But it didn't look good last week either. And Bitcoin on Sunday decided to rally and closed above the 50-week. So it wouldn't surprise me if that happened again this week. We just got a bigger dip because of the U.S. government stuff going on. Chirp says, are you going to sell most of your portfolio if Sunday's close below the 50-week? I kind of just answered that, but the answer is no. I'm going to wait for the second close. Because what I don't want to happen is to sell everything after the first close, and then what happened in 2021, summer of 2021 happens, where we did close 1 week, and then we blasted up after that. I would be really pissed off at myself if I sold everything after holding on and DCAing for 4 years just to get left behind and watch everybody become, multimillionaires, and I'm punching holes in my wall at my house because I missed it. So no, I'm not going to. Now, if we close the second week below the 50, then I'm really going to think about what I'm doing there. And I will probably sell some other altcoins. But like I said before, if we don't see a blow off top for Caspa this cycle, where basically we're not getting like a full-blown alt season, then I'm just holding all my Caspa, and I'm going to continue to add to my bags for next cycle, because it's not worth selling, barely above or even at the prices that my average is at. It's not even worth it. Johnny, you biting your fingernails? Yeah, good, good little piece of mind, I guess you could say, though, is like, we can't control anything that's going to happen, right? So none of you guys should be leveraged to the point where if we don't, get what we want this cycle, then, you're in for huge issues because you mortgaged your house and sold your wife and dogs, and, you shouldn't be that leveraged into crypto anyway. You should only be buying what you can afford to lose. And so that way, if the timeline doesn't line up with what we think it's going to line up with, then you have some breathing room and some freedom to just wait a little bit longer or react and not go down with the ship, basically. But like I said, we can't control it, right? So we just kind of have to, go in and out with the tide. We have to react to what is literally right in front of us, and just relax, because, like I said, we can't control it. There's no reason to get stressed out about it. Because what I can tell you guys is eventually, even if it's not this month or next month or the following month, at some point we will get another altcoin season with a blow off top. I'm almost positive about that. And so if you can hold on long enough, then you should be rewarded. And that's pretty much any altcoin, not just Caspa. Although the more altcoins that are produced, there's like thousands and thousands of them on a daily basis now. I would recommend holding, better utility projects more so than fly-by-night meme coins that are being created on Pump.fun. You might get a little pump from them, but they're not going to stick around cycle to cycle. So holding good, fundamental fundamentally sound projects, I think, are the best bet at this point, because with the millions of crypto projects out there now, there's a chance like not all of them pump, even if we do get an alt season, because there's just too many of them. Cheers, Chirp. Drinking Bud Lights. Wyatt, Yo, KDK, and y'all, happy birthday to your daughter, mate. I appreciate that. It's crazy that it's already been a year. Those of you who've been following me for a while probably remember like when she was born, and it's literally she's 1 year old now, which is crazy. It seems like yesterday to me. Johnny Tacos is not selling. Neither am I. I don't think anybody should be selling yet, because the chance that we actually do in this year in Euphoria is still an option out there. Cass at 4.5 cents. Buy more and just hodl. Yep. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. No blow off top. I'm not selling a dime. Because I know at some point Caspa's price is going to skyrocket again. At some point, right? Anyone else wish they bought at this price instead of 2024 price? You know what's crazy is I was into Caspa like super early, and I was mining it, right? I didn't mine a whole lot because I didn't really understand. I didn't know the project. It was just because Ethereum, had moved to proof of stake, and so I had to try and mine something else, and Caspa seemed interesting at the time. And man, if I would have only, set 100% of my miners to that project and just went ham with it, then I'd be very well off right now. But I didn't. It was just a portion of it because I didn't know how it was going to turn out. So I bought a little bit, up in, in the 1 cent range, a little bit under 1 cent, mined some of it under 1 cent. But the vast majority of my buys were at 4 or 5 cents. And that was literally back in like early 2023 or mid 2023. And it's crazy to me to think about going all the way up to 20 cents, and then now we're just ranging back at literally the exact same prices that I was buying Caspa at in mid 2023 or early 2023. So all of you guys who, and that being said, I did buy some Caspa all the way up into the 14 to 18 cent range. So it's not like I was out of the market at that point. I was still accumulating because I, like a lot of other people, thought that Caspa was just going to continue to go up and not cool off for 2 years. But that being said, there was a lot of people, and a lot of people in my comment section on crypto Twitter, when Caspa was at 18 to 20 cents, were begging for it and praying and wishing that they had bought Caspa down at the 4 and 5 cent range. If only we could get one more chance to go back in time. Well, guess what, guys? We're back in time right now. And a lot of those same people are probably not taking advantage of it either, because it's scary now, because we had come back down from 20 cents. And now it's too scary to buy at these prices because, well, what if Caspa doesn't make it? Those are the people who aren't going to make it in crypto. or any market for that matter. It's the people with the largest balls that laugh away the red days and smile during green days, knowing that you made excellent decisions when everybody else was scared out of the market. No need to be sorry for being late. I appreciate that. I felt bad. I was like, actually it was my fiance who was like, is today Friday? It's already 5:30. Aren't you supposed to be streaming right now? And I was like, oh shit, yes I am. We just had a busy day. Running around like chickens with our head cut off, trying to get everything set up for the party tomorrow. So now is definitely, I agree, Jason, now is definitely not the time to sell. The time where you can honestly like think about it is the second weekly close for Bitcoin underneath the 50-week moving average. And then I would not frown upon anybody selling at that point based on history. Although, say based on history, this cycle's not playing out like history so far. Unless we just haven't gotten to that point and we're copying the 2017 cycle. Which is possible. It's very possible still. And this is just another scare to get as many people out of the market as possible. Remember, only 1% or less make it in this market because of days like this. It's scary to a lot of people. A lot of people can't stomach it. A lot of people can't handle it. I have a lot of friends who... Actually, I wouldn't say a lot. I have a couple of friends that have invested in crypto. And these are the days that they would sell at a loss because they think it's going to zero. And I also have one other friend who can't hold on to anything for more than 5 days, no matter what the price is, because he's a gambler and doesn't like to be patient, I guess you could say. He's not patient at all. Being late will cost you 10,000 Caspa. Pay up. Hey, I'm going to pay up as soon as 10,000 subscribers subscribe to my channel. I promise you guys I will pay up. And if you're still here watching me, then you will know I'm a man of my words. Because one of you guys is going to win that. We'll do that whole little wheel spinning thing live again. Maybe I'll do it live instead of pre-recorded video too. Wyatt's definitely not selling either. Yeah, this would be... I mean, if you wanted to consolidate, you could. But I would not sell. And that would just be like smaller portions of projects that, you know, you're not 100% convicted in. And you wanted to just add more to projects that you are convicted in. That I wouldn't frown upon. Because I did it myself. I don't think it's over yet. I think we see a euphoric phase sometime in the next 6 weeks. It's very possible. And one of the crazy things is that the euphoric phase usually comes right after a time where people are 100% convinced that it's over. It takes everything to a point where everybody is just like, okay, I can finally... get on the boat of this cycle is over. And then things happen. Right? It's usually the opposite. The market usually does the opposite of what everyone else is saying is going to happen, right? The majority say is going to happen, and it seems pretty matter of fact right now that the vast majority of people think that this cycle's over. And it's getting more and more as the days go by. And so it wouldn't surprise me if it flipped. And like I said, 2017, super violent, super short, but crazy euphoric for only a month and a half at the most. Boom. Get in, get out. Wouldn't surprise me if for some reason that happened again. Beck says, happy birthday, cat baby. It's a good name for her. Cat baby. If I'm cat daddy, she's got to be cat baby, right? Dolphin, middle one, and I guess I'll wait for the last big buy and swap all besides BTC to CAS. Yeah, that's something that I might do as well. Like, I haven't decided. Like, let's just say 2 weeks from now, we've closed 2 weeks below the 50-week moving average. I don't know exactly how I'm going to go about that yet because, all my plans up to this point have been blow off top plans, right? And I'm selling into stable coins at that point, and then wait for the bear market, and then I'll have a chunk of money set aside to buy more, at much lower prices. But there's a chance, like if we don't have a blow off top this by end of this year, like we could go into a mini bear market, but I don't think the prices are going to go as low as they normally do because of that. Right? If you don't get the blow off top, you probably don't get as deep of a bear market. All speculative, of course, but I'm not sure. Maybe I would sell a lot of my stuff just into Caspa and just hold Caspa. But I still think like altcoins would probably dip another 50%. But it would be 50% instead of a normal bear market. Most altcoins are like 99%. Like you get some dirt cheap. Anybody who comes in like mid-cycle or top of cycle can't even fathom what bear market prices look like. When you're used to seeing them at certain levels, and then the bear market starts, and then a year later when everything's at rock bottom, the prices are absolutely crushed. And a lot of those won't even come back. Unless they put on a Superman cape like Zcash. Hope I'm right about what? Cycle not being over? I hope I'm right about that too. To the Moon bought more CAS today. Legend. Until oracles are ASIC, CAS based, I don't trust prices. I see what you're saying. So you want the oracles to be, decentralized proof of work so that you can trust the prices that they're spitting out. Remember how fast the rebound happened with the flash traps? Yeah. This one might happen the same way because Sunday comes 2 days from now. And there's a solid chance that we shoot right back up tomorrow or Sunday and close above the 50 again. It all depends because remember the market makers are going to tell us when the market's over and when it's not. And I still think like there's a lot of big players buying altcoins like Ethereum and Solana and Sui and I just can't imagine that they want the cycle to end like it is. You know, unless they were just like F you to everybody who buys altcoins. This is a Bitcoin cycle. And the real, you know, crypto people are going to be the winners this cycle. And altcoins will get destroyed. I don't know what the thought process is. But there's a lot of big entities that are buying other altcoins. So I can't imagine that they don't want altcoins to go through a parabolic phase. That's just my thought process, but shit, I'm not one of them, so I don't know what they think. Jack, happy birthday, Cat Kitty. Where will you be selling, on Tangem or send back to exchanges? To be honest, I've thought about this, and it's probably just easier. I got to see what the fees are like at the time. But just think about how much easier and more efficient and safer and just more comforting it would be just to swap into a stablecoin from your Tangem wallet rather than trying to send $10,000 or less, God knows how many times back and forth, right? Because you got to send your crypto to an exchange, then you've got to swap it for your stablecoin, and then in theory you're going to send your stablecoin back to Tangem, and like the things that could go wrong potentially in that process is going to stress me out. And I mean, if you've got, because I wouldn't recommend sending more than 10,000 at a time. If you've got millions of dollars at the time, like think about how many transfers that's going to be. So it might be, it kind of depends on the person, but for me, you know, unless I put my crypto into the swap feature on Tangem and I see a fee that looks absolutely outrageous where I just can't even fathom paying that much as a fee, then I'm probably just going to do it on Tangem. Just so much easier. Why do people care so much about Bitcoin? It's because Bitcoin is the OG in the space, and it's the biggest by market cap, and it literally carries the market the vast majority of every cycle. That's why people find value in it. I don't know. And it's been here for what, 15 years or something? Maybe even longer than that now, right? Yeah, about 15 years. And people just have more trust in it. It's been around. It's been battle tested. Something like Caspa's not, I mean, it's in the middle of potentially its first battle test, right? If it comes out on top, then, you know, trust will grow. I think it will. But there's a lot of people who don't want to put, you know, their hard-earned money or life savings into something that hasn't been battle tested yet. And Bitcoin's got scars. Institutions are buying it now, so like people trust it now. It's got ETFs. And Bitcoin kind of decides what happens with the cycle. It either leads on the upside or it leads to the downside, except for small pockets of time. And then usually that's right at the end of every cycle. Yeah, Eddie, I'm just going to keep buying CAS. I know where it's headed long term. I think, and I might be crazy for saying this, but I do actually believe this. Remember in the early Bitcoin days, everybody thought you were a lunatic, crazy conspiracy theorist buying Bitcoin, right? It's digital money. It's not real money. And those who had the wherewithal to buy it super early when everybody else called you an idiot have made it pretty well, and they're laughing now all the way to the bank. And I actually believe that we are in a similar infancy stage for Caspa. People are laughing at us. People are saying there will never be a second Bitcoin, and there won't be. But Caspa does something that Bitcoin doesn't and that any other crypto cannot do. It's proof of work and it's scalable. It's also actually, if you think about it too, it's actually, there was no pre-mine. Bitcoin had a pre-mine. So Bitcoin was not 100% fair launched like Caspa was. Because Satoshi owns, I don't even remember the exact number, but he owns a ton of it. They mined it beforehand, before it went live. So you can argue that Caspa's principles are actually better. And I see Infamous in the chat talking shit again. Thank you for coming in and hanging out, Infamous. I wish you were a little more respectful, though. We know you hate Caspa. And I don't ever want to block you because I appreciate you coming in here, but I would like you to be a little more respectful. We all know exactly how you feel. You've made it very clear 100 million times. Selling all 100%. Does that mean if we enter a bear? I would not fault you for that at all. If we have a blow off top, I'm selling everything except for a small portion of my Caspa. I'm selling majority of my Caspa. And 100% of everything else. Two years ago, I should have just DCA'd into XRP. It would have been way better spot by now. And obviously Bitcoin. Well, it depends on when you buy anything. You could say the same thing about Ethereum. You could say the same thing about, because it had a little run. You could say the same thing about Caspa before it hit 20 cents. If you were buying Caspa at 1 cent, you would have 20x on it. Solana, same thing. Sui, same thing. I was buying it 2 years ago at 40 cents. It went up to like $5. And now it's come back down. But yeah, if you pick a coin and DCA into it, usually you're going to win at some point. Things don't all run at the same time, right? So yeah, if you would have picked, XRP and you had conviction in it, then you would have won. If you pick something else, like the idiots, we would have called them idiots that bought Zcash 2 years ago and are DCAing into that, I'd be like, yeah, good luck with that. Look what happened. So like, a lot of things run at different times, and if you're convicted into one thing and you just DCA into it and hold on, eventually you're going to be rewarded majority of the time. Are you selling all your Caspa or just a portion? I'm selling majority of it. But the percentage I'm keeping is a large enough percentage that if it does what I think it's going to do, then I'll be perfectly fine. But I would say, I haven't actually done the percentages on it, but I'd say it's probably like 80% of my Caspa that I'll be selling. I kind of agree with you here. I don't believe the market manipulators have made the money that they want to make, which leads us to believe it's not over. I kind of fall into that category as well. Because it seems like it's been lackluster unless they all conspired, to just stay in Bitcoin. But then they would have made, because if you start with a lot of money, you can make a ton of money on Bitcoin. But if you start with $10, you're not going to make anything. And all the people that we're talking about have a lot of money, so. If I sell now, it'll pump tomorrow. Well, help us out, man. Vampito, help us out. We're waiting. Brooks, are you a bot? Tell me now if you're a bot. Who got past the locked gates and into my chat. By the way, guys, don't buy this token, whatever the hell that is. ALX 2049. Don't buy it. What exchange is he even going to exchange it for? Soon enough, it'll be delisted from everywhere. Let me teach you some things, Infamous. Because Caspa is listed on far more exchanges than most cryptos. Believe it or not. It's just missing a few big ones. So, young grasshopper, listen. Hold on, let me get this smaller because it has 9 pages of centralized exchange listings. Do you want me to count them all? Boom, 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 boom. Kraken, Bing, Mexi, KuCoin, Gate, BitGet, Bybit, Lbang, Bitmart, XT. Oh, there's Kraken again. Blah, 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 blah. Pionex, CoinX, Femex, CoinW, Bitbavo. That was at least 10 that I just listed, so there's plenty of options. The only exchanges it's missing is Coinbase, Binance, Crypto.com, and OKX. If you're in the US, you have plenty of options. Most US citizens have a Kraken account, and most that are in Caspa have a Uphold account, which is another exchange it's listed on. A lot of people trade on Bybit, BitGet, Gate.io, big exchanges. So there you go. Mexi is the biggest holder. Oh no, it's not anymore. It was. It's number 2 now, I think. But that doesn't mean it's the only exchange that you can actually go and exchange and trade on. I don't think I understand what this means. Unless you sent the cast to your cold wallet, then you got cast. Maybe you're answering somebody else's question. Or it's Cardano 2.0. Well, Cardano's been around for multiple cycles now, and it puts in a new all-time high every cycle. So I wouldn't... It's not a bad comparison. Brooks, you're a bot. Stop pushing ALX 2049. I got a question for you. What group has been kicked out of countries of 109 and now they control coins that you mine? I have no idea what that even means. Literally have no idea what that means. That's a fact. Can't sell Caspa because as soon as I do, it'll probably go up. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's the law of crypto. A lot of times, like, projects will sit... Cardano is actually good at comparison because everybody... I remember last cycle, everybody was calling it a stablecoin because it did not do a damn thing all bull market while every other coin was pumping. And then at the last second, it went haywire and had its run and went all the way up to $3. There was multiple times, because I owned Cardano last cycle, it was being called a stable coin on a regular basis. And guess what's being called a stable coin right now, because it hasn't moved in a little while? It murdered everything else in the bear market, and now everybody wants to talk shit about it because it's cooling down for a couple of years. There's going to be a certain point where it murders everything else again. I truly believe that. You know what's funny is this is what's funny, because if you're in crypto long enough, the fans of certain coins will mock the hell out of you when their coin is pumping and yours is not. And then they're quiet as hell and you don't hear a peep from them when it's the other way around. And right now, that's what's happening. I see you, Infamous. It's okay. I'm not going to pull all your comments up on the screen because we don't need to make this a negative stream. Yeah. Sad when Jerry outsmarted all of you on Caspa. But think about in 2022 and 2023, Jerry was on the other side and Caspa was pumping. And that's going to flip again at some point where ICP is going to go flat because that coin's never going to stick around forever. And Caspa is going to pump again. It's just the way it is. And then you'll be nowhere to be found. You won't be entering my chats talking shit anymore because Caspa will be up 20x. And you're going to quietly see yourself out and never come back is what's going to happen. Because you're going to look like an idiot at that time. You're in the market long enough, you see this. When one coin pumps, all the other groups make fun of you and say, oh, you should have been in this coin, you should have been in this coin. And then when the coin they're talking about starts pumping, they're nowhere to be found. And the rest of my comments look to be bots coming in promoting pre-sales. I've never had that in my live chat before. That's crazy. It happens a lot in my pre-recorded videos, but usually not in these. Are you getting more nacho? It looks bottomed out. And would you sell any nacho into CAS after a blow off top? I would sell 100% of my nacho at the top. There's no way I'm holding on to that for multiple cycles. I would not hold any meme coin for multiple cycles. Right now, I'm not buying any more nacho either. I'm letting my KRC20s ride. I'm not putting any more money into them because I don't know if they're going to be a thing of the past or they're going to have a resurgence. I don't know. But I'm not selling it if that's any consolation. I'm just letting it ride and see what happens. What's left in the ecosystem to even do? See, that's how I know you're just trolling because you literally have not done any research at all. You just come in here and think you know what you're talking about. There's no DeFi, no staking, just hold and a dream. There's literally an ecosystem now. There's a layer 2 Casplex built on top of Caspa, and you can actually go in and do DeFi. You can actually go in and add liquidity to farms and get a return if you want to. And that's just the first layer 2 that's being built. There's Egra Labs coming either this month or next month, and that's even bigger because there's some major players in the energy industry that are waiting to use that as their payment processing underlying Caspa's blockchain. So that's how I know you literally have no idea what you're talking about. All right, it looks like a bunch of spam towards the bottom of these comments here. So, without any further ado, I appreciate you guys for coming in and hanging out. Again, I'm sorry I'm late. Happy birthday to Cat Baby. And make sure you guys pay your bar tabs on your way out. I appreciate you all for being here. And in the meantime, continue to pack your damn bags before it's too late. See you in the next video.